I don't want it to be linear. I want it to be where it's personal, where you get what you need to get out of this. And I'm going to tell you why. If I can speak candidly to this group, I know we just met each other tonight. My great friend Harrison from Wisconsin is now one of my closest buddies. You know, the things I'm about to share with you, they're not shared with the masses. They're not a secret. They've just been a secret from us. A lot of what I'm about to share with you tonight has happened for generations, and it's kind of kept within certain networks. And what we've tried to do here, and we've been quite successful over the last couple of years, is we've cracked the code, and now we're yelling it out to anyone who wants to hear it. The unfortunate thing, and I'm just going to speak candidly again, the way they've been able to keep us somewhat in our bubble is they set conditions to how our mind works. When Carl brought out a trip for 7 days, half of this room went, what's the catch? Because that's just how we're conditioned. The other half went, cool, let's just go, right? But half the room went, oh, what's the catch? I mean, oh, is there a timeshare thing I gotta go listen to? And, you know, because we're just conditioned where everything is too good to be true. Just once, I want to believe. And that's what we did as a company. A couple of years ago, BizConnect's been around, so BizConnect is this company. I started it in 2011, and we've been very successful at doing one thing. We've always been able to figure out what people wanted and needed before they knew they wanted and needed it. So we've pivoted. 15 years in business, you have to pivot. You don't survive the pandemic doing what you're doing, right? But I'll tell you this, I was not absent of being a casualty during the pandemic. I lost 2 companies in that process. And it hurt. And it hurt even more when you have debt obligations that you still have to fulfill long after those companies no longer operate. They've been married 30-some years. That's because he hasn't had to go back and tell her that he's paying bills on businesses that no longer generate revenue. Otherwise, he wouldn't have made it past year 12. Right? Well, I had to do that. I had to go back and tell my family and say, hey, you know, I lost 2 businesses, but we're still obligated for that debt because of a thing called personal guarantee. So we're going to talk about some things today, but I don't want this to be a me talk, you listen. I want this to be an us talk. So at any point in the next 4.5 hours that we're going to spend together, no? I have nowhere to be. Yeah. I'm here for the night. Right? So at any point, me and my South Lake buddy over there, I mean, we have nowhere else to go. James, right?
The chair's
The losing James. The guy who didn't get hit.
We need James.
So, at any time tonight, during the evening, if something doesn't make sense, doesn't sound right, you want to call BS on me, stop me and say, hey, wait a second, I've heard something different, why are you saying this? And I'm going to give you some context. Because what I'm about to share with you tonight is about how you crack the code. And I want to share something with you before I start. Everything in life we thought was performance-based. It's not true. We're just conditioned to think it is. My oldest daughter, who's now very successful because we beat her, because we're Asian, we can do that. Right? Am I really on camera? I have to really watch myself. Yeah. So my oldest daughter, when she was in high school several years ago, she was a C student in high school. And it's not because she wasn't bright, she was just lazy as heck. Didn't want to do a homework, didn't want to do a project, just one of those kids, just didn't want to do anything. But she got a full ride to every college in the country when she finished high school. Full ride, 100%. Why is that? She had a perfect score on the ACTs. Why is that? Because she's smart like me, right? She's pretty like a mom, but she's smart like me. But she had a perfect score on the ACTs. And every university said, come here for free. What did that tell me? Performance meant nothing. Cracking an algorithm is the ticket to the dance. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And I've learned that in business it works the same way. We're all trained, pay your bills, get a paycheck, watch your credit score, do all these things. Don't step out of line, your FICO drops, don't apply for this Macy's card. We get all these fear factors put in us. All the while there's an algorithm. Instagram algorithm, TikTok algorithm. No one cares anymore what you do. They just want to know where you fit in the algorithm, and if so, are you on the upside or on the downside? That's really what it is, right? I will start. Okay, let me go on a little bit. So we're going to talk a little bit about why no personal guarantees. No personal guarantees doesn't mean no responsibility. It just means if the government says that an EIN is a person because it has to file its own taxes, then why would we need a person unrelated to that EIN, doesn't matter if it's the owner, to be personally responsible for that EIN? If you didn't pay your mortgage, they're not coming to me. It's on you. So if an EIN is a separate person, then why do we not want to create that separation? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Right? So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Can it be done? All day long. When Elon bought Twitter, he didn't write a check for $46 billion. He did it with other people's money. Because that's how the wealthy amass. And we're always thinking, I'm going to save for a down payment. Where's my 20% coming from? PMI, I don't want to have anything to do with that. It's like, we have all these fear reasons why it handicaps us from moving forward. I'm going to let you know the rest of the world that's successful, they don't fear the little things. They don't even ask what interest rates are because it really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. It's the cost of money, not the interest rate. If I bought a property with Kara, I'm not concerned with interest rate. I'm concerned with growth and appreciation because that would dwarf anything. Make sense, Kara? Right? So if I met with her and she was telling me about a potential development like the one she showed today that has that 126, was it 126 units? The single family residence, right? I'll tell you what I heard. I heard ground floor opportunity because if you're building something brand new with all of that professional development, it can only mean one thing for price. It's going to go up. And I'm not here to give you real estate advice. I'm just letting you know as a human being, when I heard that, I'm thinking ground floor opportunity. If I had a way to acquire some of that SFRs with OPMs, we can do acronyms all night. That's cracking the code. You have a passionate business leader back there, so don't let her leave just packing cookies. Like, pick her brain tonight as well about how we do some of that, right? And I'm going to show you how we can get that. So, who is Fundable 360? We are essentially a fintech company because that's how you figure out algorithms. It's not performance, it's technology. It's financial technology. Everything today, right? Whether it's Credit Karma, Capital One. For the older people in the room, which is not my film girl, we remember walking into a bank, building a relationship, getting to know the manager, showing up every Friday so he remembered your face. So when you came back and needed a favor, and you needed him to wave something or speed something up or send a wire before the cutoff, he could do those kind of things. Can he still do those things today? No. Because if the computer says no, there's not a damn thing he can do. That's just how banking is today. So technology runs all of that. So if you can figure out how it works and make it work for you, you're winning. Make sense?
Yes.
Right? So, Railhouse, here's what our technology includes. And you guys can read this, so I don't have to explain any of that. You guys can see what it does. What it basically says is, we're pretty awesome and we do cool things. That's what the slide says, okay? So understand that having access helps. Having inside access is awesome, and having the code to open the combination is like cheating. But it's okay to cheat if you don't hurt anybody. And we're not hurting anybody because we're not saying no responsibility, we're just saying be responsible in the way we do things today. We're gonna talk about that as well. Any questions so far? Everybody thinks we're pretty. Fundable 360 do, we set up business credit, corporate credit. Because I'm gonna tell you this, banks are in the business of doing what? Lending money. This is how they keep the ecosystem going. They don't want to deny you. They want to do everything to put money in your pocket.